I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
The Seaview is an amazing boat. Besides the flying sub, it has a built-in diving bell for going deeper than the sub itself can handle. It's deploying right now.
Precious cargo, Admiral. And going to the world's only completely invulnerable bomb shelter.
Seaview to Apple 1.
Apple 1, Captain Crane.
3 minutes from lock entry. Status report.
All systems on automatic. Total electronic control.
And your passengers?
The President's enjoying himself.
The President is the precious cargo General Hobson was talking about. This place is at the bottom of the ocean, way, way deep, and it's intended to be even more secure than the bunkers in the mountains where they take the top government officials in a crisis. General Hobson is the top military man in the country, and the President trusts him completely. So Lloyd Bochner actually gets to play a good guy for a change. It doesn't matter. If he's in the episode, you know it's going to be good. The place is also very well concealed, and it's intended to be a White House away from the White House with all the bells and whistles, and especially the communications gear.
Deep Center to Seaview.
Mr. Seaview, come in, Captain Crane.
Full recording system operational. 1400 hours, 14 July, 1978.
It's been a while since they told us what year it is. The episode aired in 1965, but in the first season, we were only 10 years into the future. I guess time moves faster when you're on a submarine.
System check.
Deep Center Complex operational. All systems green. Life support cycles at optimum levels.
We've lost contact.
I was about to tell him not to talk it up too much, but never mind.
Special cable deep center to the Pentagon. We could tap it and reach them that way. Chip.
Sir.
Set a course for this point to get there fast.
Navigation, come to course 071, all ahead flank.
Chief Sharkey.
Right here, sir.
Ready a diving party. Have them stand by.
Aye, sir.
They've done this before. Sharkey may be new to it, but his team knows what to do.
Nelson, this is a waste of time. Radio the Pentagon. Let them raise the deep center by cable.
I prefer to tap the cable, General. I'm maintaining strict radio silence until we find out exactly what's going on down there. I don't want the Pentagon alerted. I think the President would want it that way.
Well, it's your submarine. And if you're wrong, your neck.
Wrong about what? Wanting to know what's going on? That statement doesn't make sense.
The reactor alarm.
Even worse than having no power or communications, the place gets its power from an on-site nuclear reactor. That reactor is now going bonkers.
Something's wrong with the nuclear pile.
Oh, it's impossible.
I agree. I designed that shelter down there, General. Your company installed it. Together we installed every conceivable precaution. What went wrong?
An even more interesting question, where is everybody?
Lee, can you read me?
Admiral, we've lost all communication. How did you get through?
We patched into the marine cable. Now, what's going on down there?
We've had a power failure. The manual controls on the reactor are locked. I can't budge them.
The controls to unbunker the reactor don't work, and in fact, it's as though somebody welded them into place.
The electronic system's jammed. Not a malfunction, but jammed. Nothing moves.
Sabotage.
No, sir. At least not down here. It's some kind of, high-intensity radio beam. It's overriding all our safety devices.
Back in my CB radio days, sometimes guys would try to do this to each other. If Pancake Chomper got angry at Hog Sniffer, he might have a device called a linear amplifier tied to his equipment. A CB radio wasn't supposed to put out more than 5 watts of power. That was the law according to the FCC, and if Uncle Charlie caught you pushing more than that, you could be in for some big fines. A linear amplifier would boost your signal possibly to several hundred watts. Some radios couldn't handle receiving a signal that strong and would fizzle. They called that running a carrier on the guy, and if Hog Sniffer's set couldn't handle it, then he was off the air until he bought a new one. We all use 10 codes in our talk, and I'm 10-7 means I'm shutting down. So naturally, if you ran a carrier and blew a guy's radio out, you 10-7'd him. That's essentially what this signal is doing to the place. It's putting it 10-7. That means the Seaview's mission is to find the source of that beam and shut it down. General Hobson disagrees.
This could be a hostile attack, a prelude to a missile launch.
As the Chiefs of Staffs have already considered that possibility, General Michaels seemed particularly concerned.
Consider launching our missiles, sir, before it's too late.
Against whom, General?
You know very well, sir.
He's assuming the Soviets, of course, but they weren't the only ones who didn't like us and wanted to take us down. If he fired them at every country that had that attitude, there'd be nothing left.
No, I do not know, and I don't intend to take any such action until I do know.
If we wait, sir, our nation could be wiped out.
I'm aware of your feelings and your opinions, General, but I have to make the decision.
And thank heaven for that. Hobson is a military man all the way. Weapons are for shooting at each other, not sitting around waiting. At the Admiral's suggestion, Crane and 2 other men put on radiation suits and go into the reactor. But they can't even move things by hand. It's all frozen in place. Captain Crane was wrong. There is sabotage happening down here. My question is why? The reactor is already doing what the bad guys want. What was the point of making it obvious there's a traitor in the house?
Mr. President, you know every man here in Deep Center very well, don't you?
Do we ever know a man really well, Captain?
The reactor panel's been sabotaged.
I see.
He wants a round-the-clock guard on the president. In addition, he wants to declare this room off limits to everyone except the president because only he can order a nuclear strike. It requires his voice, his face, and the codes in the football. The idea is to make sure somebody can't come in here and coerce him into launching. They report everything to the Seaview. The president has a message for General Hobson.
General, you're this country's ranking military officer. As you well know, I never subscribed to your behavior as a peacetime officer. But as a leader in wartime, you are indispensable.
The problem here is nobody knows if this is a war situation or not. But putting things in his hands could turn it into one, whether anybody was really attacking or not.
In view of the present emergency, I'm ordering you back to active duty. I'll also notify Washington and the Vice President.
Yes, sir.
In the event that rescue operations here prove unsuccessful, you'll report to the Vice President as Chief of Staff.
I hope the Vice President is as clear-headed as the President when Hobson starts spouting his love of violence.
Sir, I strongly advise following General Hobson's course of action.
Your advice is duly noted, General Michaels, but I must make my own decision.
I mean no disrespect, sir, but I hope you won't let the past influence your judgment.
You mean because I had the temerity to retire this country's only living 5-star general?
That would be General Hobson. The president retired him from the military and appointed him as an advisor. There was a lot of public backlash, but if that guy thinks the president is concerned about his political image right now, he also needs to retire.
There hasn't been a public furor like that since the MacArthur case back in the 50s.
I didn't mean to compare the 2 cases, Mr. President. The circumstances were entirely different.
You didn't mean to out loud, but the president is smart. He caught your implications.
If you don't mind, Admiral, I'd like to be kept fully informed.
Of course. All right. There, General. All of our figures show this area to be the source of the radio beam.
on the mainland.
Not just the mainland, the American mainland, specifically the coast of Virginia. Nelson says that rules out a hostile act by a foreign power. Hobson disagrees.
Are you saying that an enemy has established a base in the continental United States and is trying to kill the president?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, General, I agree with the president. So far, we have no basis for retaliation against anyone.
If I had the power to make the decision, I'd order an all-out nuclear attack right now.
Thank heaven you don't have that power.
No, but if the president does die down there, he just gave Hobson that power in the very near future. Worse, Hobson's revealing his hand. He wants the president to die so he can take over. He might as well say it in so many words.
You'll see. When the president and chiefs of staff are dead, you'll see and understand.
This is Lloyd Bochner doing what he did best. If he was mowing the lawn, he could make it exciting and a little scary just with his look. Add that voice and his natural intensity, and the order of the day is stay out of his way. I love his acting. I'm not crazy about the mustache, but that's a personal preference.
That high-intensity beam, Admiral, have you found its exact location yet?
No. The computer doesn't have enough information.
Well, I'll get my briefcase and join you, Commander.
He wants to go back to Washington, so Chip will take him in the flying sub. Admiral Nelson quietly says he doesn't fully trust the general, so he doesn't want him to know anything, at least not yet. I wouldn't put it past him to nuke Virginia. Admiral Nelson wants to talk to Captain Crane and the president in private.
Virginia? You mean this beam doesn't come from a submarine or a ship?
No, sir, it does not. For the time being, I'd like to keep secret the fact that we know the approximate location of the transmitter. Just you, Captain Crane, and myself.
The president gets what that means.
You're saying that General Hobson doesn't know?
That's right. I think that a small force would have a better chance to silence it in time.
All right, Admiral. I accept your judgment.
What he doesn't know can't blow somebody up.
Control systems erratic. Fully evasive action.
Unlike the deep shelter, the Seaview can make a run and get away from it. But the attack makes it clear that somebody knows their plans and doesn't want them to happen. Hobson is on the video phone.
Your target, what area?
I'm sorry, sir, but that information is classified by executive order.
Sort of. He told the executive he wanted to keep it from the general, and the president didn't say no.
Of course, if you want to contact the president...
No need. Our own tracking station has picked it up. It's in the vicinity of Weymouth, Virginia. That's where you're heading, isn't it?
I repeat, sir, that information is classified.
Well, I'm heading for Weymouth myself. Meet me at Dolan Air Force Base when you come ashore.
General, I think it's best if you stay...
What's the purpose of him going there? Is he taking a nuke with him? This doesn't compute. They've also discovered that the beam is operating on 6 different frequencies, and they just happen to match the frequencies used in the shelter.
Deep Center was top secret from the very beginning. Only the designer and the builder knew the frequency of those wave transmissions.
Admiral Nelson was the designer, and we know he's not doing it. General Hobson was the builder. That narrows it down considerably. Okay, change of plan.
Hold the course for Weymouth, lay offshore a mile, wait to hear from me. Aye, sir. Gonna take Sharkey and Kowalski with me on the flying sub. Civilian clothes, concealed weapons.
He's setting up a commando raid. This should be good.
Now, if anything happens to me in Weymouth, let the president know what I suspect about Hobson. Use the Red Dog code. And if we're too late, then notify the vice president.
Yes, sir.
We got a chance of bringing this off, which is more than we had this morning.
But for some reason, he brought the general in on this. That seems like a bad idea to me, but he's in charge.
Pure nonsense. This is no time for spy hocus-pocus. I'll order in a battalion of men. We'll surround the town and go through it house by house.
When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When you're an ambitious warmonger, everything looks like an enemy. He wants to deploy American troops on American soil in clear violation of the law, not to mention the constitutional rules about search and seizure. Yeah, we don't do that here.
We're fighting the clock. We need surprise and all the luck we can put together.
I want troops in here.
There's no time for argument. If you want to, we'll radio the president and have him decide.
All right, I'll accept your advice. For the time being.
That's big of you, considering his way has the president's blessing and yours doesn't, assuming that matters to you.
That matter we discussed.
Yes, sir. White Horse Complex.
Get it to Deep 6 at once.
At once.
Affirmative and out.
Admiral Nelson isn't convinced that presidential approval matters to Hobson. That's what that was all about. He's keeping the president in the loop about Hobson's activities and his suspicions. Chip is relaying the message right now.
Consider the possibility of treason, not hostile action. Consider the emergence of the man on horseback.
Admiral Nelson said that?
There's more, sir. He wants you to know he has a suspicion. A man who wants a preventative war against the enemy, who believes that the only way to save his country might just go this far. That's the end of the message.
Did he mention a name?
He said you'd know the man.
How many of the guys around you are screaming for a preventive war, sir? I count one. Now the president is really blown away. He also has a major dilemma. If Hobson really is behind all this, we can expect a nuclear launch as quickly as he can finagle it. If it's an enemy, we can expect the same, except going toward us rather than away from us. He calls in the officer with the football and requests the codes.
This is the hardest decision any man ever faced. If Nelson's right, if we are dealing with internal treason, then I must make no move. I must do nothing but wait. On the other hand, if he's wrong...
Captain Crane advises him to wait and give the Admiral a chance to shut down that transmitter.
I'm ready, gentlemen.
So are we.
This is a tragic moment, but may prove a turning point for our country.
I don't see it that way.
The tragedy will wake up the nation, make them realize they need a man of strength and purpose to run the country.
If that man's purpose is to blow up half the world, then nobody needs him. Nelson suggests that he stay here and monitor the radio rather than go with them and fight bad guys. Hobson agrees.
Admiral, you can expect to be recalled to active duty. The Seaview, of course, will be commissioned and ordered to join the fleet.
Let's get moving.
As Hank P. McCoy once said, it is inadvisable to enumerate one's poultry prior to their complete incubation.
There's one parting word, General. Whatever plans you might have, don't try to activate them until you know I'm dead.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said, only different.
Number 1 to Dagger. Number 1 to Dagger.
Dagger, go ahead, 1.
You have visitors on your doorstep.
We're all ready for company.
You must stay in business until closing time.
I knew Lloyd Bochner had to be the bad guy. It's what he did best. I can't say it enough. I love this guy's acting. I can't count the times we've seen him on this channel. In fact, he was in this series last season where he was also the bad guy. He's back again as a bad guy facing down Admiral Nelson. Talk about people who don't get the message.
We'll handle the situation.
Report your disposal of the 3 unwelcome visitors as soon as you accomplish it. Now we know.
And he doesn't know they know. That gives them a big advantage. Let's see how they blow it.
The College Administration Building. The beam comes from there, probably that loft at the top. But the transmitter's not there. There's no radiation. Just the antenna. What do we do now?
Cut the wires to the antenna. That shuts the beam down while you go find the transmitter. Harkening back to my CB days again, if the coax to your antenna broke or got cut or just came off, your radio would cook itself. Those things build up a big load of energy and it has to have some place to go. The antenna is the only open door, so if it's not there, you get to buy another radio. I'd wager one of my guitars this transmitter is the same. Those output components, the finals as we used to call them, will fry without the antenna. But that's too easy. Harriman Nelson likes doing things the hard way. So he'll leave the antenna untouched while they go find the transmitter. Chief Sharkey will stay here and cover them. Never mind, Chief, he'll take care of it himself. Every good spy needs at least one of those little bombs. A gunfight erupts and one guy starts laying down a smokescreen. They have to retreat.
Deep breaths, Kowalski, deep.
What gives, sir?
Take the car and go back to the hotel.
Right.
Stop Hobson. Don't let him get to Washington.
You mean you want me to get tough with a five-star general, sir?
Get as tough as you want. He's a traitor. Use your own judgment.
Yes, sir. I always wanted to push around a five-star general.
Haven't we all? Hobson is in the process of destroying the radio with his riding crop.
You planning a trip, General?
Get out of here.
I'm sorry, General, but I got orders to see that you don't leave.
Who are you to talk to me about orders? Get out.
You know, well, I got orders to see that you just stay here.
No enlisted man will address me that way, sailor.
Oh, man, I don't know what's bugging you, but whatever it is, that's not for me. So you just might as well make yourself comfortable because, sir.
You're standing too close to him, Chief. Told you. He's supposed to go to Washington, but he's going to deal with Nelson personally first. Nelson and Kowalski have followed their directional finder to the campus bookstore.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
I don't believe I've seen you before. You must be one of the summer students.
Well, I guess you could say that. Yes, ma'am.
I see.
She has a somewhat different greeting for Admiral Nelson.
Good evening, Dr. Parrish.
Admiral Nelson.
Kowalski, this is Lydia Parrish, a brilliant young physicist. She did marvelous work in the construction of Deep Center.
Kind of you to remember. But you always were kind.
And she's not. She worked on the project, so she's the one who figured out how to do this.
You've got some large explaining to do.
A Mexican standoff, eh, Admiral?
So it would appear.
I suggest you both take your pistols and put them over there on the counter.
Well, I suggest that you put that, whatever it is, back in the drawer.
There's two of them and one of you. Can your thingamadoodle get both of them at the same time? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Captain Crane has been trying in vain to do something with the reactor.
The reactor's completely berserk. It's a matter of minutes now.
That can't be true.
General, I'm not a nuclear expert, but I can read dials and gauges.
No word from Admiral Nelson?
No, sir.
You must be wrong, Captain Crane. The reactor shouldn't have reached critical mass yet.
You must have some data I don't have, General.
Yes, do tell us more, General. Especially tell us where you got your information. The President says, I don't think this is an enemy attack. This is sabotage from within.
What do you mean, an internal plot?
Admiral Nelson has proof of such a plot, planned and executed by Americans. Traitors who would do anything in their power to gain power, including starting a nuclear war.
Where did the Admiral get those facts?
Even worse, one of us here in the Deep Center is a traitor, too.
Gosh, I wonder who it could be. It's not like he's being obvious about it.
But he's faced with a problem. Because when we die, he dies.
That's not so. The beam was to be shut off before the reactor went critical.
I'm afraid you're considered expendable along with the rest of us in this room.
You get to be a martyr for the cause, General. Aren't you proud? He pulls a gun, but what's his end game? How does he propose to get out of here? Crane takes him down and has a couple of guards lock him up. Next crisis, please.
Those of you who wish to may remain here with me until we hear from Admiral Nelson. Or until we reach the point of no return.
Now that the bad guy has been dealt with, there's no reason to make the room off limits anymore. So they can stay and wait with him, or they can go do nothing somewhere else.
Well, Admiral, did you enjoy playing spy? Bucking for hero, first class?
I'll never understand the twisted mind that makes you think what you're doing is right.
It's an automatic transmission device, General. Someone is keeping informed on the Admiral's whereabouts.
That's not all. He's wearing a heart monitor that lets Chip Morton know he's still alive. If it stops sending, we know he's dead. She switches the trackers off. Chip has had enough of this. He says, prepare the mini-sub. I'm going ashore. It won't be mentioned, but I'm pretty sure this will be the only time a mini-sub actually returns after its mission. This also means they have not one, not two, but 3 ways to leave the sub: the mini-sub, the flying sub, and the diving bell sub. He's brought another directional finder with him and starts following its signal while Hat Guy starts following him. He didn't bring a weapon? Maybe he's not the guy for this job. We get a long chase that ends when he grabs a Jeep and takes off in it. Once he's reasonably sure he's clear of that guy, it's back to tracking.
Dr. Parrish almost forgot under the jacket in this shirt.
I see. Another tracking instrument. This one picking up your heartbeat and transmitting it, Admiral. Now your friends are going to think you're dead.
And what do you suppose they'll do about that, Doctor? You just made yourself a target for revenge, and these guys don't mess around. But she's blinded by all the smug that's filling the room. General Hobson leaves to return to Washington and take his place as dictator and destroyer of worlds.
This miniaturized transmitter really interests me. I may be able to adapt it for our use.
Isn't it amazing that this technology that's probably classified is so easy for you to access and study?
Keep him covered, Kowalski. Sorry, Doctor. I should have warned you. It is booby-trapped.
There's no smoking around a cloud of smug because it'll blow up in your face. Outside, Morton and Sharkey have found each other. Chip reports that the Admiral is dead and his murderers are in the bookstore.
Come in, gentlemen.
The transmitter is in that room and Nelson knows what to do with it. No, you're supposed to throw a monkey wrench into the works, not a crowbar. The beam is down. The reactor is returning to normal. Now for Hobson.
I demand to speak to the Vice President, highest priority. As the new president, he must order an immediate nuclear strike. I don't care about your instructions. This is a matter of national survival.
It is indeed, General.
Get out of here. This is a time for action. The president is dead.
He knows this for sure. How? Nice job of incriminating yourself in front of all of them.
The president is very much alive, General.
Communications ended. The reactor.
With the beam transmitter smashed, the reactor's under control again. As for communications, I just spoke with the president. He ordered me to put you under arrest.
And I don't foresee any pardons in your future. I'm pretty sure he doesn't like you anymore. He dominates the screen without saying a word. That face and those expressions say more than words ever could. I'm belaboring it, but Lloyd Bochner overshadowed everybody anytime he was on camera. It's just the way he was made. And it's our benefit that he did, because he was the epitome of his craft of character acting. He lived to be 81, but that's not enough for me. I would have loved to see him live for another 20 years and keep doing what he did. Once again, the Seaview itself didn't figure into the story much, but it's not the star of the show. The crew is. We got to see a lot more of Chief Sharkey and Chip Morton in action. We had gadgets galore, most all of them believable, and we had a good story. The intricacy of this plan, what it took to make it happen, again, it's all believable. We learned that Dr. Parrish established herself at the college, and she was the inroad to sneaking all that equipment in and everything else. The structure of the plot holds up and makes sense. Hobson is a megalomaniac who thinks killing millions of people will get him a positive entry in the history books. Now he'll get a mugshot. And I have a little advice for him. Before they take the picture, lose the mustache.
I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
And where are you going? Hobson was the design. Slow down. Again? Oh, stay here. Come on, you. In fact, he was hidden. Come on, David. Martyr, not a Marty. Chief Sharkey and Chip Morton. Sounds like a tongue twister.